You think her tight shoulders mean no. They might mean she's burning for you. Most guys misread the body. They listen to polite words, miss the small tells the held breath, the jaw that sets, then softens the way her hips shift, while she pretends she isn't watching you. You crack a simple line, she pauses, lifts her chest, touches her neck, and you tell yourself it's random. My friend, I'm here to wake you up, not to baby you. Tightness doesn't always equal rejection. Often it's desire negotiating with safety. Tonight we're decoding that negotiation. We'll map 7 female tightness signals. You can spot in real time how tension gathers, where it releases, and what changes when your presence feels right. No tricks, no pushiness. Stoic composure. First awareness, second action last. You'll learn to read clusters, not isolated blips, to feel when the room slows down, to wait one beat longer than comfort so her interest has space to bloom. Imagine knowing when her silence is arousal, when a still hand is an invitation, when a tiny pivot of the pelvis says, I'm with you. Imagine leading without chasing, because you can finally see what her nervous system is confessing. If you've been guessing for years, this is the night you stop. Stay close. Miss a piece and you'll miss the moment entirely, folks. Let's get into it. Number 1. When her body tightens for you. You ever notice how a woman's body tenses the moment you walk into the room? Maybe her shoulders pull back slightly, her breath catches for a second, her jaw firms before she speaks. Most men think that's disinterest, that she's uncomfortable. But the truth is more complicated and more primal. Tightness isn't always a wall. Sometimes it's a doorway she hasn't decided to open yet. Let's keep it real, my friend. When attraction hits, the body feels it first, before the mind, before logic, before permission. That tension you're seeing, that's her nervous system lighting up. The female body reacts to strong presence the same way it reacts to cold water, with shock alertness and a spark of electricity. It's a biological response, not a rejection. The muscles tighten, the posture shifts, the breath shortens, not to push you away, but to manage the rush of feeling. Let me give you something real. David, 52, divorced, and back on the dating scene, meets Allison, 48, at a small wine bar in Boston. The first time he speaks to her, she straightens instantly, not leaning back, not pulling away, but almost bracing. Her shoulders lift, her voice catches. She crosses her legs, then uncrosses them. Every move looks like tension. David thinks she's not interested. But as the night goes on, he notices something. Every time he relaxes, she exhales. Every time he speaks in that steady, calm tone, her shoulders drop a little. The tightness was never against him, it was for him. It was her body reacting to presence it wasn't ready to admit it wanted. Here's the thing, desire and fear share the same physical language. Raised heartbeat, tightened muscles, shallow breath. The difference is context. Attraction is the tension that wants to melt, not the tension that resists. Most men panic when they see it. Stoic men read it. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." That tension you see in her body, it's not adversity, it's proof. Proof that something is stirring beneath the surface. Your role isn't to fix it or force it, it's to hold steady long enough for it to change shape. The female body tightens when emotions rise faster than control. She might hold her breath when you lean closer, shift her hips when you speak low, or touch her wrist when silence falls between you. These are the micro signals of an internal tug-of-war, safety versus desire. If you rush to fill the moment, you interrupt it. But if you stay grounded, you give her the space to let that tightness transform into trust. David learned that night. He didn't lean in too fast. He just held eye contact, stayed relaxed, and let the conversation breathe. By the end of the evening, Allison's shoulders had softened her, laughter came easier, and her hand rested near his on the table. No tension left, just quiet curiosity. Remember, this attraction begins as pressure. The body feels before the heart agrees. When she tightens, don't retreat, observe. When she exhales, don't chase, stay present. Tightness is just energy searching for direction. The man who holds still long enough becomes the direction. I've seen this before if you've noticed that instant shift in her body when you walk in. Stay with me, because next we're talking about the hidden heat behind that tension and how her body confesses what her words never will. Number 2. The heat hidden behind her tension. Most men see tension and assume distance. They see the straightened spine, the crossed legs, the stiff shoulders, and they think she's closed off. But what they don't realize is that heat often hides behind restraint. A woman's body doesn't always express desire in softness. Sometimes it trembles through control. Here's the truth. Attraction is energy, not expression. And when that energy shows up too suddenly, her nervous system can't release it right away. The tightening you see is the body trying to contain a rising temperature. She's not rejecting the spark, she's managing it. You'll notice it in the smallest things. Her breath becomes shallow, her blink rate changes, she adjusts jewelry that doesn't need adjusting. It's not anxiety, it's chemistry. The female body has its own defense mechanism. When arousal begins, blood flow increases in areas linked to pleasure and attention. That physical change can make her feel exposed, even if she hasn't said a word. So her posture stiffens, her jaw tightens, her hands fidget. It's an unconscious shield, not to keep you out, but to keep herself contained until she decides you're safe enough to see what's underneath. And that's where your awareness matters more than your words. The untrained man interprets that tension as she's not into me. The grounded man reads it as her body's catching up to her feelings. Stoicism teaches you that perception is everything. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. You can't control her tension, but you can control the space it lives in. If your energy is calm, her body eventually matches it. That's the law of resonance. Her system aligns with yours. The calmer you are, the safer she feels. The safer she feels, the more that tightness melts into warmth. It's not about doing something, it's about being something still, observant, steady. Now pay attention to the transition. When attraction deepens, her tightness won't vanish all at once. It changes form. The shoulders that were stiff begin to drop. The crossed legs unfold slightly. The breath evens out. These aren't big moves, they're micro shifts that show the tension has turned into trust. That's the real heat. Not loud, not flashy, but slow and consuming. This is the difference between lust and connection. Lust tries to escape tension. Connection transforms it. A woman drawn to a man who stays composed through her tightness will start to feel curiosity instead of pressure. She'll begin to enjoy the quiet pulse of the moment because you didn't rush it away. Think about it. Every muscle she tensed in self-protection starts to release under your stillness. Every breath she was holding starts to synchronize with yours. That's not game or manipulation. That's biology meeting stability. And that's the foundation of real desire, tension that finally feels safe enough to let go. So when you see her tighten, don't react. Don't shrink back or push forward. Let her body say what it needs to say. Hold your ground, stay calm, and give that heat a place to breathe. The warmth is already there, hidden under the surface, waiting for permission to rise. I've felt that heat before. If you've ever seen tension turn into something deeper, don't go anywhere, because next we'll explore the silent battle every woman fights inside her, the one between control and craving. Number 3. She's fighting what she feels. You ever look at a woman and feel that strange push-pull, like her body's drawn in, but her mind's trying to stay away? That's not imagination. That's the oldest dance between desire and control. When attraction hits deep, she doesn't always move closer. Sometimes she freezes, trying to make sense of the chaos inside her. She's fighting what she feels. Here's the thing, my friend. A woman can want you and still resist you, not because she doesn't feel the pull, but because she does. Her nervous system goes into conflict, the logical mind says. Stay composed, while the emotional body whispers, get closer. And in that battle, tension becomes the shield. Take someone like Mark, 54, a financial advisor from Denver. He meets Julia, 47, at a professional seminar. The attraction is instant but subtle. She maintains eye contact a little too long, laughs softly at something barely funny, then quickly folds her arms as if to contain herself. When Mark speaks, her chin lifts, but her hands clasp together. It's the perfect contradiction, opening and guarding at the same time. Most men would assume she's uninterested. Mark, however, has learned to read tension as a signal, not a stop sign. As the conversation flows, he notices small cracks in her armor. Her voice drops her shoulders, relax for a moment, then tighten again. This back and forth isn't confusion, it's self-preservation. Attraction feels like vulnerability, and vulnerability feels risky. She's not rejecting him, she's regulating herself. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Epictetus wrote, "We suffer not from the things themselves, but from our opinions about them." That's exactly what's happening in her body, a quiet argument between emotion and interpretation. Every woman carries her own past heartbreaks, disappointments, unspoken fears. When someone new triggers real attraction, all of that wakes up. Her body tightens because it remembers what losing control once cost her. Her mind builds walls to keep her steady, but her body keeps leaning toward you anyway. It's not a sign to push harder, it's a sign to stay calm. Mark stays grounded. He doesn't rush to comfort or flirt more. He gives her space to let those conflicting feelings settle. And something interesting happens. The longer he holds steady, the less she needs to hold herself together. By the end of the night, her arms are uncrossed, her laughter fuller, her gaze softer. The fight didn't disappear because of his charm, it dissolved because of his composure. This is where most men fail. They mistake her hesitation for rejection and back off, or they sense the tension and try to break it with pressure. Both ruin the moment. The key isn't to change her emotion, but to outlast it. When she feels that her intensity doesn't rattle you, the fight inside her ends on its own. The battle between control and craving isn't yours to win, it's hers to resolve. Your role is to be the calm she tests her storm against. The tighter she gets, the more grounded you must become. That's the paradox. Attraction is strongest when it's safe enough to surrender. So when you sense that push-pull, the laugh followed by silence, the eye contact followed by retreat, don't panic. Let her fight. Let her feel. Because the moment she realizes you're not fighting back, that's the moment she stops resisting what's already written in her body. Type "I've seen that conflict before" if you've watched a woman fight her own desire. Stay close, because next we'll break down the micro movements, the tiny shifts that give her struggle away. Number 4. Tiny moves, big desires. Most men wait for grand gestures, the big smile, the bold touch, the obvious lean in. But attraction rarely announces itself like that. It hides in the micro. The body gives away desire through tiny movements, a quick inhale, a shift of the hips, a brush of fingers against glass. If you blink, you'll miss it. Here's what the average guy doesn't realize: when emotion is strong but controlled, it leaks through the edges. A woman who feels drawn to you won't always show it directly. Her upbringing, her logic, her pride, all of it tells her to keep her composure. But her body can't fully obey. So it whispers instead of shouting. The whispers are what you need to learn to hear. You'll see it when she's standing still. Her shoulders may angle just slightly toward you, even as her eyes scan the room. Her lips part when she breathes after a quiet moment. Her hand grazes her thigh or tucks her hair for the third time in a minute. She's not preening, she's self-regulating. That movement releases tension, letting the body express what the voice refuses to. Stoicism helps you see these things for what they are. The Stoic doesn't chase emotion, he observes it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." Truth here is in observation, not assumption. You're not decoding a trick. You're witnessing a nervous system negotiating between desire and restraint. That's why presence is everything. When your attention is scattered, you'll never catch the small shifts. But when you're centered, every tiny signal becomes visible. The blink that slows, the breath that deepens when you speak, the stillness that appears right after she laughs. These are micro moments of surrender. They last a second, but they tell you exactly where she stands. The beauty of the small signs is that they don't lie. A forced laugh can be acted, a casual touch can be planned, but the muscles don't fake. Watch her neck, does the skin flush slightly? Watch her mouth, does she swallow before answering? These are primal cues of arousal. Her logic is trying to stay calm, but the body has already made its move. Now don't misuse this knowledge. You're not hunting for weakness, you're reading truth. The goal isn't to exploit, but to understand. Because once you understand, you stop pushing, you stop performing, you let attraction unfold instead of forcing it. That's the masculine discipline the Stoics spoke about: strength through stillness, power through patience. And here's something real. The more you learn to read quiet signals, the more peaceful your interactions become. You'll find you don't need validation, you don't need to rush, you just know. Her micro movements reveal everything, and that knowing frees you from guessing. If you want to go deeper into this to learn how to master presence, composure, and silent influence, join the membership. Inside, we break down real-world Stoic strategies for reading emotion, handling tension, and staying in command without saying a word. It's for men who want quiet confidence, not cheap tricks. Type "I've seen those signs" if you've caught those subtle movements before. Stay calm, stay observant, because the next part will show you how that stillness turns into trust. Number 5. The pause before she gives in. You ever notice that second of silence, that tiny pause when everything slows down between you and her? The air feels thicker, her breath catches, and her body stops moving for just a beat. That, my friend, is the edge. It's the moment before surrender, before her logic loses the argument. Most men miss it. They rush in, break the tension, and ruin the magic. But that pause, that's where desire breathes. Here's what's really happening. When a woman feels drawn to a man, her body goes through a rapid fire of internal decisions. Her pulse rises, her muscles tense, her mind races to keep control. And then suddenly there's stillness, a pause. It's not hesitation, it's processing. Her system is recalibrating from defense to allowance. You'll see it in her eyes. First, the pupils hold steady, her lips part slightly, and time seems to stretch. That's the biological moment when her body starts saying yes, even if her words haven't caught up yet. Let's make it real. Ethan, 55, a photographer from Seattle, meets Laura, 51, at a local art exhibit. They've been talking for an hour, soft smiles, casual jokes, light touches on the arm. Then, out of nowhere, the conversation stops. She looks at him, doesn't say a word, and just breathes. He feels the pull, every instinct tells him to speak, to fill the silence. But he doesn't. He waits. The silence turns warm, not awkward. Her shoulders drop. She exhales and leans closer. That's the pause before she gives in. It's fragile, electric, and completely human. Most men can't handle silence because they mistake it for rejection. But in truth, silence is where emotion reorganizes itself. Marcus Aurelius said, "To be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over it, stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's what you need to become in that moment, unmoved. When she pauses, don't chase the next word or movement. Be the rock. Let the waves of her emotions crash and settle, because here's the truth. The pause isn't for you, it's for her. She's giving herself permission to let go. Her body needs a second to transition from resistance to receptivity. And if you can stay still through that, you become the signal of safety. That's when she steps closer, when her tone softens, when her body starts aligning with yours. The mistake men make is trying to seal the deal the moment they feel tension. They touch too soon, talk too loud, lean in too fast. That breaks the moment. The pause only works when it's allowed to stretch. It's the bridge between thought and feeling, and only calm men can walk across it without collapsing it. Ethan understood that. He didn't fill the air with noise. He just let the moment hang there until Laura made the move herself. And that's exactly how attraction deepens, not through force, but through patience. Remember, the feminine unfolds through time, not pressure. The pause is her language of surrender. You don't demand it. You earn it by standing still while she decides it's safe to fall. So next time you feel that sudden quiet between you, don't panic, don't talk, don't move. Just breathe. Because in that silence, she's not pulling away. She's falling. Type "I've felt that silence" if you've seen that pause right before everything changes. Stay with me, because next we'll talk about what happens after the tension breaks, when tight turns to soft and desire finally finds its rhythm. Number 6. When tight turns to soft. There's a moment every grounded man recognizes when her body stops guarding itself. The tension that once held her frame firm begins to dissolve. Her shoulders lower, her voice slows, her movements smooth out. It's not dramatic, it's quiet, subtle. But that's when you know the shift has happened, the tightness has turned to softness. Let's be honest, my friend. The body always tells the truth before the mouth does. Tightness is protection, softness is permission. When she starts to relax around you, it's not just physical ease, it's emotional surrender. Her body is saying, "I can breathe here." You didn't earn it by clever words or charm. You earned it by staying steady while she was tense. Here's what's really happening under the surface. Every woman's body operates between two nervous systems, one for survival, one for connection. When she's guarded, the survival system is active. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, tone sharpens. When she feels safe, the connection system takes over. The body warms, the breath deepens, her energy softens. What you're witnessing in that transition isn't seduction. It's biology finally trusting your presence. And this is where most men go wrong. They feel her relax and think it's the signal to move fast. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. The same applies to trust. You can't rush softness, you can only allow it. When you meet her calm with stillness instead of excitement, her body keeps opening. But if you break that moment with impatience or ego, everything tightens again. You'll notice softness first in her voice. The words flow more slowly, the pitch lowers. Then, in her posture, no more rigid angles, just curves and flow. Her eyes stop darting around and start resting on you. Her laughter changes from polite bursts to warm, unguarded sound. The transition from tight to soft is the purest form of communication there is. It means she's stopped performing, she's simply being. The key, though, is not to mistake this softness for fragility. It's strength in a different form, strength through trust. A woman only shows that softness to a man who doesn't exploit it. That's why presence is so important. You don't reward her softness by pouncing on it. You respect it by matching her tone, slower words, gentler eye contact, fewer movements. You let the energy breathe. In Stoic thought, power is never loud. It's controlled, deliberate, unhurried. The same applies here. When her body softens, that's not your victory. It's her choice. You didn't win her, you made it safe for her to stop fighting herself. That's what separates the calm man from the restless boy. When you can recognize this shift, when her shoulders sink, her breathing steadies, her whole energy turns fluid, you don't need to ask where she stands. The answer is right in front of you. The softness isn't weakness, it's trust in motion. And that's when you realize attraction isn't about pursuit, it's about space. Space for tension to unravel, for energy to change, shape for connection to grow on its own. So next time you feel her soften, don't speak, don't act, don't break it. Just let her be. Because when tight turns to soft, that's the body's way of saying, you've done enough. Stay right there. Number 7. Her body starts to surrender. You ever been in that moment where everything about her changes, not through words, not through confession, but through the way her body just lets go? Her breathing evens out, her eyes stay locked a little longer, her posture melts into something fluid and open. That, my friend, is the surrender. It's not about dominance or control. It's about safety finally winning the battle against fear. Let's be honest, surrender doesn't start with desire. It starts with trust. A woman can't relax into attraction until her nervous system decides you're not a threat. And that decision isn't made by her logic, it's made by her body. That's why the most powerful men don't convince her to surrender. They create the conditions where it happens naturally. Think about Jake, 58, a business owner from San Diego. He met Melissa, 50, a travel writer, at a mutual friend's dinner party. At first, her energy was high, polite smiles, quick laughs, perfect posture. But as the evening went on, Jake didn't push the conversation. He listened. He spoke slowly with that quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove anything. Little by little, her body changed. She shifted closer without realizing it. Her hands, once folded tight, began to rest loosely on the table. When he made a point, she tilted her head and stayed silent, not out of hesitation, but because she was absorbed. That's the body surrendering tension, dissolving presence taking over. Her muscles stop guarding. Her gestures become slower. You can almost feel the air change between you. It's like her whole being exhales. She's not performing anymore. She's present. The Stoics understood this kind of power, not power over someone, but power over self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The calmness you carry, the patience you live by, those shape her response more than anything you say. When you radiate composure, she mirrors it. Her surrender is a reflection of your steadiness." That's why men who chase never see this stage. They interrupt the process by trying to make something happen. But the Stoic man knows what's meant to open, opens in its own time. You don't demand surrender. You invite it through stillness. Here's what to watch for when that shift begins. Her shoulders drop naturally, not consciously. Her laughter turns deeper, not louder. Her eyes linger, but stop darting. She leans in slightly during silence. Even her hands tell the story. The fingers that once fidgeted now rest calmly, sometimes near yours. These aren't performances. They're physiological signs that her nervous system has stopped protecting her. She feels safe not just around you, but with you. Jake didn't move first. He didn't need to. When Melissa's body softened, he matched her energy, quiet, patient, grounded. And that's when she reached out first, her fingers brushing his hand mid-laughter. No words, no grand move, just instinct taking over once fear had nowhere left to hide. So remember this, surrender isn't weakness. It's the highest form of trust. When a woman's body begins to relax around you, it's not permission to act. It's a signal to stay steady. That's how connection deepens, not by chasing tension, but by holding space for it until it melts. Next time you see her body start to surrender, don't rush it. Just be there. Because that's the quiet moment when attraction stops being a game and starts being real. Type, "I've seen this change," if you've ever felt that subtle shift from guarded to open. Stick around because next we'll break down how your calm presence keeps her body aligned with yours without saying a single word. Number 8. She mirrors your calm, not your words. Most men think women fall for words, the clever talk, the timing, the charm. But the truth is, her body doesn't respond to your language. It responds to your state. She doesn't mirror what you say. She mirrors what you are. When you're calm, she calms. When you're restless, she tightens. The female body is designed to sense energy before logic catches up. Her nervous system reads yours faster than she can form a thought. The steadier your rhythm, the safer she feels. And when she feels safe, her body relaxes. This isn't about manipulation, it's biology. Human beings mirror what they feel most strongly, not what they hear. That's why nervous men make women anxious, not because of what they say, but because of how they vibrate. Presence transfers faster than speech. The Stoics mastered this long before psychology existed. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You can't control how she feels, but you can control what her body senses from you. When your energy is calm, her body mirrors that peace. When you're centered, her tension melts. You can see it happen in real time. Her breathing starts to match yours. Her shoulders fall, her voice softens. Even the timing of her movements begins to line up with yours. She's not copying you consciously. She's syncing with you subconsciously. That's how connection starts, not through talking, but through shared rhythm. Now here's where most men go wrong. They break that rhythm by trying too hard. They joke too much, talk too fast, or lean in too soon. The moment you start chasing, your calm disappears, and her body senses it instantly. Her guard comes back up, her muscles tighten, her tone sharpens. She's mirroring again, but now she's reflecting your tension instead of your peace. So how do you keep the connection? You stop performing. You let the silence breathe. You speak slower. You move less. Your steadiness becomes a message louder than any compliment you could offer. The point isn't to act calm, it's to be calm. Stoicism isn't detachment, it's control. You don't suppress emotion, you own it. A man who's truly centered doesn't need to prove it. His calm draws others in naturally. That's why confident men don't chase energy, they set it. You'll know it's working when the room slows down. Her speech mirrors your cadence. Her laughter lands in sync. She starts feeling at peace without knowing why. That's her body aligning with yours, because it finally found a rhythm that feels safe. And here's the beauty of it. The calmer you get, the less effort everything takes. You don't need the right words. You just need presence. Women remember how you made them feel, not what you said. So next time you're with her, forget the script. Drop into silence. Let your calm lead. Watch her body follow. That's not magic, that's human nature, responding to balance. Type "I've seen this happen" if you've ever watched a woman's energy soften to match yours. Stay close, because next we'll explore what happens when she stops mirroring and starts surrendering, when her guard finally falls away completely. Number 9. The moment she finally lets go. There's a point where all the small signs come together, the shifting posture, the slower breath, the long silences that no longer feel awkward. It's not a performance anymore, it's surrender. When a woman finally lets go, it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet. That's how you know it's real. It happens when the storm inside her runs out of reasons to resist. She's done fighting her own emotions. Every layer of control that once held her together begins to loosen. The shoulders that were squared start to round. Her voice loses its sharpness. Even her laughter changes, not forced, not careful, but natural. It's the moment when she stops protecting herself from feeling. Let me give you something real. Thomas, 57, a financial planner from Atlanta, met Dana, 52, at a charity gala. At first she was poised, polite smile, perfect posture, all grace and distance. But throughout the night, his energy never shifted. He didn't chase, didn't compete for attention, didn't try to impress. He stayed grounded, comfortable in his silence. Dana noticed. Slowly, her tone changed. She leaned in closer when he spoke. The laugh that started polite became open and unguarded. Later, as they stood near the exit, she paused, that small pause we talked about, and exhaled. Then came the look. That soft, steady look that says everything without a word. That's the moment she finally let go. Her body had been negotiating safety and attraction all night, and his stillness gave it permission to rest. The surrender wasn't about physical closeness, it was about emotional release. When she finally felt safe enough to stop controlling herself, the real connection began. This is what most men never experience, because they rush the process. They try to create chemistry through action instead of atmosphere, but you can't make surrender happen. You can only hold space for it. As Seneca said, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength." The same applies here. Your calm strips her hesitation of its power. The moment she feels your composure more than your desire, she lets herself relax into it. When she finally lets go, her body tells the story long before she does. Her shoulders tilt toward you. Her hands become expressive, not guarded. Her breathing syncs with yours. Her voice grows slower, warmer. Even her eyes change. They stop scanning and start resting. That's her nervous system shifting from defense to desire. Thomas didn't say anything clever in that moment. He didn't move closer or break the silence. He simply smiled, small, patient, knowing. And she smiled back, not because of what he did, but because of how she felt in his presence. Her body had already decided. This is the truth. Surrender isn't something you earn. It's something you allow. You create the environment, you embody stability, and her system does the rest. It's the natural end to the dance of tension, when the energy that's been wound tight finally finds somewhere safe to unwind. So, when you see it, that soft exhale, that unguarded glance, that quiet shift in her posture, don't mistake it for an invitation to move fast. It's not the end of attraction, it's the beginning of trust. Remember, the man who can stay still in that moment doesn't just attract her, he calms her. And that's what every woman truly remembers. Not what you said, not what you did, but how safe she felt when she finally let go. Type, "I've seen this happen," if you've ever watched that quiet surrender unfold. Don't go anywhere, because next we'll close it out when tension turns to tenderness and desire finds its final shape. Number 10. Tight first, then desire wins. Every story of attraction follows the same rhythm: tension before release, resistance before surrender. The body always tightens first. It's the nature of desire. What starts as tension doesn't mean rejection. It's proof that something inside her is waking up. The muscles brace not to block you, but to brace for the wave of feeling that's coming. You've seen it. The lifted shoulders, the crossed legs, the subtle jawline that firms when your eyes meet. It's instinct, her body's way of saying, "This feels strong, I need a second to catch up." But when you understand that rhythm, tight first, soft later, you stop misreading the process. You stop rushing what's meant to unfold. Here's how it works. Attraction begins in the nervous system, not the mind. When chemistry hits, her body doesn't know yet if it's safe, so she tenses. Her breath shortens, her movements become sharp. She's not rejecting the moment, she's containing it. The tension is her first line of emotional defense. But as the moments stretch, as you stay calm and unbothered, her system gets new information. He's steady, he's safe, and that's when desire starts winning. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That's the Stoic truth behind attraction. You can't control her reaction, only your perception of it. Most men panic when they see tension. They take it personally. The wise man reads it as the beginning, not the end. The transformation from tight to open is subtle but visible. Her gestures lose their edges. The rhythm of her speech slows. The tension in her neck fades as her voice warms. Her eyes no longer dart away when you meet them. They linger not out of duty but out of comfort. You didn't force it. You allowed it. You gave her body the time it needed to make peace with her own desire. This is what separates the impatient from the powerful. The impatient man reacts to surface tension. The powerful man waits for it to bloom. He knows the body needs contrast, the pressure before the release, the resistance before the letting go. It's that arc that creates depth. Without the initial tightness, softness means nothing. Let's make it real. Imagine an older man, confident, seasoned, sure of himself, sitting across from a woman who's clearly drawn in but guarded. He doesn't rush to fill the silence. He lets her posture ease at its own pace. Her breathing slows, her eyes soften, her lips part slightly when she exhales. That's the moment desire takes over. Not because he acted, but because he didn't. The body naturally shifts from control to connection when it feels no pressure. Here's the paradox. Tension and attraction are not enemies. They're partners. Tension creates awareness. Desire resolves it. You can't have one without the other. The body tightens to prepare for closeness, and the moment it feels secure, it lets go. That's when attraction stops being a spark and becomes a current. So remember this cycle: tight first, then trust, then desire. If you skip the first step, you miss the real depth of connection. If you respect it, everything opens naturally. The man who understands this rhythm never forces the moment. He reads it, matches it, and lets it unfold. That's the true art of attraction, through presence. Calm first, then heat. Stillness first, then movement. Tight first, then desire wins. So, my friend, now you see the pattern. Every signal, every pause, every shift in her body tells a story. The body tightens first, then softens. Fear turns to trust, tension turns to desire. And when you understand that rhythm, you stop chasing moments and start leading them. This video wasn't about tricks or tactics. It was about awareness, about reading what's real instead of reacting to what's loud. That's what separates a man who begs for attention from a man whose presence commands it. If you want to go deeper to master calm, control, emotional awareness, and the psychology behind Stoic attraction, join the membership. Inside, we go beyond what I can say here. You'll learn how to move through tension, read energy, and lead with silence. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next lesson. Thanks for watching, my friend. Stay calm, stay sharp, and I'll see you tomorrow.